Luke 19, verse 1, Jesus and Zacchaeus. He entered Jericho, and he was passing through. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector, and he was rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was. But on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was small in stature. See that? Little Zacchaeus couldn't get through the crowd. All these people hanging around Jesus. He wants to get in and see him, but he's too small. So he runs on ahead, and he climbs up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried, and he came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, He's gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. There it is, guys. Jesus plainly states, as he walks into Zacchaeus' house, he says, Today, let's see if I got you here, Alba. He says, Today salvation has come to this house. Jesus had come to the house. Jesus is salvation. We need to understand this, guys. Salvation, although it could be referred to as a gift and stuff like that, you have to understand salvation is a person. Jesus is salvation. This is how you know you could be safe and secure and you can rest. He lived the perfect life, and then he gives this life to you, and you receive it in your heart, in your spirit, okay? And then you've got it. And his whole promise is he'll never leave you nor forsake you. Yes, salvation is a gift. It's a free gift. Jesus freely gives himself to you. So that's all I'm saying is sometimes when people hear gift, they think of it like this. I've just been given this gift, and I'm going to hold on to it here. They look at salvation and this, and that, and then they think if they sin or they set it down, salvation is far off, or I don't know if I have it anymore. I don't have the right tools to draw this, but salvation is a total immersion. Imagine being injected with Jesus. He's in you. You can't just lose it or leave it. It's a part of you now. It is your life. Jesus is your life. Anyways, there it is. Today, salvation has come to this house. Jesus is salvation. The parable of the 10 minas. Minas? Verse number 11. As they heard these things, he proceeded to tell a parable, because he was near to Jerusalem, and because they supposed that the kingdom of God was to appear immediately. He said, therefore, a nobleman went into a far country to receive himself a kingdom, and then return. Calling 10 of his servants, he gave them 10 minas. And he said to them, Engage in business until I come. But his citizens hated him, and sent a delegation after him, saying, We do not want this man to reign over us. And when he returned, having received the kingdom, he ordered these very servants, to whom he had given the money, to be called to him, that he might know what they had gained by doing business. The first came before him, saying, Lord, your mina has made 10 minas more. And he said to him, Well done, good servant. Because you have been faithful in very little, you shall have authority over 10 cities. And the second came, saying, Lord, your minas has made 5 minas. And he said to him, And you are to be over 5 cities. And then another came and said, Lord, here's your mina, which I have kept laid away in a handkerchief, for I was afraid of you, because you are a severe man. You take what you did not deposit, and reap what you did not sow. He said to him, I will condemn you with your own words, you wicked servant. You knew that I was a severe man, taking what I did not deposit and reaping what I did not sow. Why then did you not put my money in the bank? And at my coming I might have collected it with interest. And he said to those who stood by, Take the mina from him, and give it to the one who has 10 minas. And they said to him, Lord, he has 10 minas. I tell you that everyone who has, more will be given. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. Real lady, thank you very much. But as for these enemies of mine who did not want me to reign over them, bring them here and slaughter them before me. Guys, this is a hard parable, right? Let me look something up real quick. All right, I've got a little thing right here. It says, in this parable, Jesus teaches us about stewardship and accountability. The nobleman entrusts his servants with minas, symbolizing the resources and gifts that God has given each of us. From a grace perspective, we understand that God has given us everything we have, and we are called to use our gifts for his glory. Our faithfulness in stewardship is a response to his grace, not a means to earn his favor. That's right. That is right, guys. All right, here we got a big moment, guys. I'm going to talk about this one afterwards, right? The Triumphal Entry. This is 28, and it says this. And when Jesus had said these things, he went on up ahead, going up to Jerusalem. Now when he drew near to Bethpage and Bethany, at the mount that is called Olivet, he sent 2 disciples, saying, Go into the village in front of you, where on entering you will find a colt tied, on which no one has ever yet sat. Untie it and bring it here. And if anyone asks you, Why are you untying it? You shall say this, The Lord has need of it. So those who were sent away and found it just as he had told him. And as they were untying the colt, the owner said to them, Why are you untying the colt? And they said, The Lord has need of it. And they brought it to Jesus, and throwing their cloaks on the colt, they set Jesus on it. And as he rode along, they spread their cloaks on the road. As he was drawing near, already on the way down the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of his disciples began to rejoice and praise God with a loud voice for all the mighty works that they had seen, saying, Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord, peace in heaven and glory in the highest. And some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. And he answered, I tell you, if these were silent, the very stones would cry out. I love this passage here. I love this, guys. I was there. I wish I could pull up a picture right now. I was there on the Mount of Olives, looking across at the I want to say it's called the Golden Gate, the gate where Jesus rode this donkey up into Jerusalem. And you could picture the scene, guys. You could picture the scene. Jesus riding in on a donkey. Everybody throwing their coats on the ground, praising God. They're rejoicing. They're singing this song, Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. The Pharisees upset, telling him to rebuke the disciples. And Jesus says this, I'm telling you, if they're silent, the very stones would cry out. This is incredible power on Jesus's part. Remember now, he's told him he's got to go to Jerusalem. Some stuff has got to happen. Now here we go. The journey has begun. The king coming in on a donkey. The real king coming into Jerusalem on the donkey. And I also find it just so interesting that people are, here we go, guys, that little story about going to find the colt and all that. And he says, yeah, go get that donkey in the town next over. Bring it to me. If anybody asks you, tell them the Lord said he needs it. And then they go and somebody says, yeah. And then it's like Jesus knew this exact situation was going to go down. So it goes down exactly as he tells them. Again, just cool stuff. So there we go. And now he's approaching the city, guys. Here it is. Jesus is, he's on his way. He's got a mission to accomplish here. He's heading to the cross. And here is his big entry, the triumphal entry into the city of Jerusalem. And as he approaches, when he draws near, and when he drew near and saw the city, he wept over it, saying, "Would that you, even you, had known on this day the things that make for peace. But now they are hidden from your eyes. For the days will come upon you when your enemies will set up a barricade around you and surround you and hem you in on every side and tear you down to the ground, you and your children within you. And they will not leave one stone upon another in you, because you did not know the time of your visitation." Incredibly deep stuff right here, guys. Jesus, as he's pulling up to Jerusalem, as he's entering the city gates, he's beginning to cry. He knows what's about to occur to his people, to Jerusalem. Well, if you guys know your history, the temple was under siege shortly after this, guys. The Jewish people were killed. Massacred. Blood and enemies killing the Jews everywhere they could and destroying the very temple. And he knew this, and it was killing him. And he says, they're not going to leave another stone upon another in you, because you did not know the time of your visitation. And there's some other stuff here. Here we've got the king, the real true king, Jesus, coming in, and the people don't recognize it. And it's setting up this rejection of Jesus, which is ultimately going to set up the resurrection and everything like that. But in the meantime, these Jewish people, they do not recognize their own Messiah coming into their city. And ultimately what ends up happening is all of Jesus's warnings go, not understood, not received, if you will. And it kills Jesus. He's crying about it. His people, his city, this town, this temple, the whole thing, it's going to be destroyed. And so here we go. Jesus cleanses the temple. And he entered the temple, and he began to drive out those who sold, saying to them, "It is written, my house shall be a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of robbers." And he was teaching daily in the temple, and the chief priests and the scribes and the principal men of the people were seeking to destroy him, but they did not find anything they could do, for all the people were hanging on his words. That wraps chapter 19, guys. Heavy, heavy stuff from Jesus.